I want to start today by speaking to you about a theme that resonates deeply with each of us, a truth that may echo within your heart. Your trials were a test. Now comes God's millionaire blessing. We live in a world filled with struggles, trials, and moments where we wonder how we can endure. Each trial we face is a test of our faith, a test of our resilience, and ultimately, a test of our trust in the Creator. But I want you to understand something today. Those trials are not meaningless, nor are they forever. They have a purpose, and they are the very foundation on which God will build your future. And what lies ahead after these trials is a blessing beyond anything you could have imagined. We must first recognize the undeniable truth that trials are an inevitable part of life. We can try to avoid them, we can wish them away, but they will come. And I don't know about you, but when I find myself facing a difficult moment, it often feels as though I've been cornered, overwhelmed, and stretched beyond my... Yet God doesn't allow these trials to break us. He allows them to build us. I want to ask you something today. Have you ever faced a trial so great, so painful, that you questioned whether you would ever make it through? Have you ever looked at your circumstances and thought, is there a purpose in this pain? Why is this happening to me? And in the midst of that pain, there's often a voice within you that whispers, you're not enough. You can't make it through. This is too much. But let me remind you of something that is crucial to understanding this journey. The trial is not the end of the story. It is simply a test of what you believe about yourself and what you believe about God. It is a challenge to show you that despite the storm, there is something greater on the other side. And that greater thing, it is the blessing. A blessing that comes from the one who holds the world in his hands. You see, we often believe that blessings are given in an instant, when everything is calm and peaceful, when life is flowing smoothly. But God often works differently. The real blessing, the one that will truly transform your life, comes after the test. After the trial. God will not bless you with what you cannot handle. He will not give you the inheritance of His grace until He has seen how you stand in the storm. Because that is when you prove your faith. That is when you show God that you can endure, that you trust Him with everything, no matter how hard the road may be. This millionaire blessing that I speak of isn't necessarily material wealth, though it can include that. No, the millionaire blessing is the overflow of God's goodness into every part of your life. It's the peace that surpasses all understanding, even in the midst of your struggles. It's the restoration of your joy, the renewal of your strength, and the provision that God makes when you've reached the end of your resources. It's the kind of blessing that brings clarity to your vision and makes you see life with fresh eyes. This is the blessing that God has reserved for you, but you must pass through the fires. As we look at the stories of people in the Bible, we see time and time again how God used trials as tests before blessing them. Take the story of Joseph, for example. Joseph was thrown into a pit by his brothers, sold into slavery, and then imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit. His life was filled with injustices, hardships, and challenges. Yet in every moment of trial, Joseph remained faithful. He trusted in the goodness of God even when he could see no way out. He didn't give up. And eventually God raised him up from the pit and placed him in a position of power, a position of influence. But that blessing came only after the trial, after the test. The millionaire blessing wasn't just about Joseph's material success. It was about his heart, his character, and his ability to see God's hand in every circumstance. There's a powerful message in this. God is preparing you for something greater than you could ever imagine. The challenges you face right now may seem insurmountable, but they are refining you. You are being shaped and molded into a vessel capable of carrying a blessing that is too big for your current state. You are being prepared to handle the weight of the blessing, because without the preparation, you wouldn't be able to sustain it. But God doesn't just leave us to figure it out on our own. He is with us every step of the way, guiding us through the storm. And though you may feel like you're walking through fire, you are not alone. The very hand of God is holding you, supporting you, and leading you to the other side. It's not just about enduring the trial. It's about trusting the one who walks with you through it. There's a peace that comes when you realize that God has not left you. You are his child, and he will not let you fail. Perhaps you've been praying for change, for breakthrough, for a blessing. Maybe you've been waiting and waiting and waiting. But let me tell you something. Your waiting is not in vain. God is preparing you just as he prepared David when he was a shepherd boy in the fields. David didn't start as a king, but through years of trials and tests, he became a man after God's own heart. Through his struggles, he learned how to rely on God, how to fight the battles that were before him, and how to lead with integrity. It was through his trials that David was equipped to reign as king. You see, what God has in store for you is far greater than anything you could ask for or even imagine. It's more than what your eyes can see in the natural world. God's blessings are not confined to the material things we often think of, but extend to every area of our lives. His blessings can heal relationships, restore broken hearts, open doors that seemed permanently closed, and pour out joy that no amount of pain can take away. But first, there's the test. Some of you may be facing the most difficult trial of your life right now. It might feel as though the storm will never end, as though the pain will never cease. But hear me today. Hold on. Do not let go. Your breakthrough is coming. The blessing is on the way. You are about to step into a season of abundance, a season where God's provision will overflow in your life. You are about to witness the results of your faith, your perseverance, and your trust in the one who holds all things together. The test has not been easy, but it has been necessary, and the reward will be worth it. God sees your pain. He knows your struggles. He has not forgotten you. You are not forgotten in the midst of your trial. Instead, he is refining you, shaping you, and preparing you for something that will bring glory to his name. Just as gold is refined in the fire, you are being refined. You are being tested to see if you will continue to trust in the goodness of God, even when things seem impossible. There is a millionaire blessing waiting for you, but you must be ready to receive it. You must be willing to stand firm in your faith, even when the winds are strong and the waves are high. You must trust in God's timing, knowing that he will bring you through the storm and into a place of abundance. I encourage you today to hold your head high, to stand firm in your faith, and to trust in the one who is faithful. Your trials were not in vain. They were a test, and now comes the blessing. Your breakthrough is near, and the God who has brought you this far will see you through to the end. I want to continue this journey of understanding because the story isn't over yet. You see, in the midst of your trial, there is often a deeper, unseen work being done. Trials test your endurance, but they also test your character. They test your heart. How will you respond when faced with adversity? How will you behave when everything seems to be against you? When life gives you more than you can handle? How will you react? The test is not in the trial itself, but in how you endure, how you rise up from it. Let us not forget that God's ways are often not our ways. What we see as a setback, God sees as a setup. What we see as failure, God sees as an opportunity for growth. The setbacks in your life are not there to punish you. They are there to propel you forward, to prepare you for what is coming next. It's easy to become frustrated when things don't go according to plan. But I want to encourage you to shift your perspective. Instead of seeing your challenges as obstacles, begin to see them as opportunities to draw closer to God, to deepen your faith, and to prepare for the blessing that lies ahead. When we look at the lives of those who have walked before us, we find that every single one of them experienced hardship, pain, and struggle. Yet despite the trials, they remained faithful. Job, for example, experienced unimaginable loss and suffering, yet he never cursed God. He questioned, he wept, but he never lost his faith. Job's faith was not shaken by the depth of his suffering, and in the end, God restored him, blessing him with even more than he had before. God's blessing came after the trial, after the test. This is the same for you. God will not allow you to endure the trial without bringing you to a place of greater blessing. He will see you through. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't seem to be going our way. But I want you to understand that God is always at work, even when we cannot see it. He is working behind the scenes, orchestrating everything according to his perfect will. There is nothing that happens in your life that is outside of his control. Even when you feel like you are in the darkest place, even when you are battling your greatest fears, God is with you. He is walking with you through every step of your journey. Remember that Jesus himself did not escape suffering. He was betrayed by his closest friends, beaten, mocked, and ultimately crucified. Yet that very suffering became the means by which salvation was made available to the world. In the most painful moment of his life, Jesus was fulfilling a purpose that would impact generations to come. In the same way, your trials and challenges, as painful as they may be, are not in vain. They are part of a greater purpose. God is using them to shape you, to refine you, and to prepare you for the blessings he has in store. But there is another important truth to understand here. When you are in the midst of a trial, it is easy to forget that you are not alone. You may feel isolated, but God has not abandoned you. He is walking beside you, carrying you when you cannot walk on your own. There is a verse in the Bible that says, "Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." When you are in the valley, when you are surrounded by shadows, you can take comfort in the knowledge that God is with you. You are never alone in your struggles. Even when it feels like everything is falling apart, God is right there, walking with you, holding you up. And just as God was with the great men and women of faith throughout history, he is with you now. Think about Moses, who faced the unimaginable task of leading the Israelites out of Egypt. He was not a natural leader. He was a man who felt inadequate and unsure of himself. Yet God called him, and in the midst of his doubt, Moses trusted God. When the Israelites found themselves trapped between the Red Sea and Pharaoh's army, it looked like there was no way out. But Moses, with God's guidance, led them through the sea, and they were delivered. The miracle came after the trial, after the test. God did not part the Red Sea before Moses trusted him. No, the blessing came after Moses stepped out in faith. This is a reminder for us all. The blessing will come, but it will come after the test, after the trial, after the moment when you are at your lowest and yet still choose to trust God. The miracle happens when you take that step of faith, when you choose to keep moving forward even when it feels like there is no way ahead. When you are at your lowest, God is at his highest. He is waiting for you to trust him with everything. He is waiting for you to surrender your fear, your pain, and your doubt to him so that he can show you his faithfulness. God is a God of restoration. He doesn't just restore what was lost. He makes things even better than they were before. Think about the story of Ruth. Ruth went through great loss. She lost her husband and her way of life. Yet in her sorrow, she chose to remain faithful. She chose to serve her mother-in-law, Naomi, and she chose to trust in God's plan for her life. And in the end, God blessed her with a new husband, a new family, and a legacy that would go on to change the world. Ruth's story shows us that no matter how dark the moment may seem, God has a purpose, and he will bring good out of it. The blessing came after the test. The miracle came after the trial. This is the same truth for us. We are not just waiting for the storm to pass. We are waiting for the breakthrough. The breakthrough comes when we trust God in the storm, when we believe that he is still at work, even when we cannot see it. The breakthrough comes when we believe that God is a good Father who loves us and will not lead us in the valley forever. He will lead us to higher ground, to a place of blessing, to a place of abundance. But the blessing is not just about material things. It is about spiritual growth. It is about the deepening of your faith and your relationship with God. Every trial you face is an opportunity to grow closer to him, to trust him more, and to experience his love in a deeper way. The blessing is not just about what God gives you. It is about who you become through the process. It is about the strength and resilience that you develop in the midst of your trials. It is about the character that is forged through the fire. And as you grow in faith, you will begin to see things differently. You will begin to see your trials not as obstacles, but as opportunities. You will begin to see your struggles not as setbacks, but as stepping stones. Because you know that every trial you face is a test, and every test is an opportunity to draw closer to God, to grow stronger in your faith, and to be prepared for the blessing that is on the way. The millionaire blessing is not just about the destination. It is about the journey. It is about the transformation that takes place in your heart and in your spirit. It is about learning to trust God in the hardest moments, knowing that he will bring you through. The blessing is not something that is given to you in an instant. It is something that is earned, something that comes after the trial, after the test. And when it comes, it will be greater than anything you could have imagined. So hold fast to the promises of God. Know that the trial you are facing is not the end of the story. It is simply the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter where God's blessing will overflow in your life. A chapter where you will see the goodness of God in ways you never thought possible. Keep your eyes on him, trust in his timing, and know that he is with you every step of the way. Your trials were a test, but now comes the blessing, the millionaire blessing that God has prepared for you, and it is worth every moment of the wait. We must never forget that trials often reveal things about ourselves that we didn't know existed. In the midst of hardship, we are forced to confront who we truly are, not just the person we wish to be or the person we portray to the world. Trials strip away the layers that we've built to protect ourselves, and they expose the depths of our character. In those moments, we may find that we have more strength than we ever imagined, or we may discover areas in our hearts that need healing, growth, or transformation. Either way, the process of being tested brings us face to face with the raw reality of who we are, and it gives us the opportunity to change and grow. We often think that blessings come easily, that they come when everything is perfect, when life is comfortable and smooth. But God's blessings are not always about comfort. They are about purpose. You see, if we only experience life's easy moments, we never learn the deeper lessons that prepare us for the bigger things ahead. It's through the struggle, the pain, the battle, that we gain the endurance needed to carry the weight of the blessing that God has promised. This is why the Bible often talks about perseverance and endurance. It's not because God wants us to suffer for suffering's sake, but because he knows that we need to develop strength, faith, and resilience to handle the blessings he has in store. When we stand firm in the midst of our trials, when we refuse to let go of our faith, we begin to build the capacity to receive what God is preparing for us. It's in the stretching and the refining that we grow into the people we need to be in order to fully embrace the fullness of the blessing. You might wonder, why does God allow us to go through such difficulties? Why must there be tests? Why must there be pain? The answer lies in the fact that trials refine us. They shape us into who we are meant to be. They help us discover strength we never knew we had, and they reveal a depth of faith we may have never tapped into before. The Apostle Paul writes about this in the book of Romans when he says that suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. This hope, he writes, does not disappoint us because it is rooted in God's love. God uses trials to shape our character, to refine our hope, and to draw us closer to his heart. But even more than that, these trials, these tests, these periods of suffering are not just for us. They are for those around us as well. When you stand firm in your faith during a trial, when you continue to praise God even when everything seems wrong, you are a testimony to others. You become a living example of God's goodness, his faithfulness, and his power to sustain. People are watching, and they are seeing how you handle the storms of life. Your ability to endure with joy and faith through your trials can inspire others to trust God when they face their own battle. God is always at work, even when we can't see it. His timing is perfect, and though it may feel like the trial will never end, he is using that time to prepare you for something greater. He is working in your heart, changing you, growing you, and building you into the person you are meant to be. There is purpose in every trial. Purpose that we may not understand in the moment, but purpose that will become clear in time. Every test is part of a bigger picture. Every challenge is a piece of the puzzle that will eventually reveal a masterpiece. When we find ourselves in the midst of trials, we can sometimes feel as though God has forgotten us. It can seem as though he is silent, distant, or uninterested in our pain. But nothing could be further from the truth. God has not forgotten you. He has not abandoned you. He is right there with you, walking through the valley with you. In fact, he may be closer to you in the trial than he has ever been. Trials have a way of pushing us toward God, of drawing us near to him in ways that we might not experience when everything is going well. When life is easy, it's easy to forget our dependence on God. But in the midst of pain, we are reminded of our need for his presence, his comfort, and his strength. It is in these moments that God reveals himself most powerfully. He comforts us in our pain, strengthens us in our weakness, and gives us peace in the midst of the storm. He is the God who is with us in the fire, the God who is with us in the flood. He is the God who will never leave us or forsake us. When everything else falls apart, he remains. And it is in the midst of these trials that we discover the true depth of his love for us. And we learn to rely on him more fully. As we go through the fire, we are being purified, like gold being refined. Gold must go through intense heat in order to be purified, to remove the impurities that weigh it down. Similarly, God allows us to go through the fire of trials, to purify us, to remove the things in our hearts and lives that are not in line with his will. It is through the process of refinement that we become more like Christ. It is through the trial that we are shaped into the image of the Savior who suffered on our behalf. And just as gold comes out of the fire more valuable and pure, so too will we emerge from our trials stronger, purer, and ready to receive the blessings God has prepared for us. But here's the thing. The test is not about how much you can endure on your own. It is about your relationship with God. It's about trusting him to carry you when you cannot carry yourself. It's about relying on his strength when your own strength is gone. You will not be able to endure on your own, but you don't have to. God has promised to be with you every step of the way. When you are weak, he is strong. When you are broken, he is the healer. When you are lost, he is the way. And he is faithful to see you through to the other side. We must also remember that the blessing is not just about what we get, but about who we become. Every test, every trial, every struggle that we face is an opportunity for growth. It is an opportunity to deepen our faith, to strengthen our character, and to grow in the knowledge of God. When we come out of the trial, we will be stronger, more resilient, and more prepared to handle the blessings that God has for us. The journey is not easy, but it is worth it. The blessings that come from God are not just for our benefit, they are for his glory. When we stand firm in our faith, when we persevere through trials, we bring glory to God. We show the world that he is faithful, that he is good, and that he is worthy of our trust. You may be wondering, when will the blessing come? How much longer will I have to endure? And I understand the pain of waiting, the frustration of not knowing when the storm will end. But know this, God's timing is perfect. He will bring the blessing at just the right time. He will bring the breakthrough when you are ready to receive it. Trust his timing. Trust that he knows what you need and when you need it. His plan for your life is far greater than anything you could imagine, and he is working all things together for your good. The journey you are on right now, although difficult, is leading you to a place of blessing. You are being prepared for something greater than you can see. The test you are facing is not in vain. It is a part of the process that will bring you closer to God and equip you to handle the blessings he is preparing for you. And when the blessing comes, it will be greater than anything you could have imagined. It will be worth every tear, every moment of pain, and every step of the journey. Remember that God is with you. He will never leave you. He will see you through this trial, and he will bring you to a place of abundance, a place of blessing. Keep your eyes on him. Keep your faith strong. Hold on to the promises of God, and trust that he is working all things together for your good. The millionaire blessing is coming, and it will be worth every moment of the test. In those moments when life feels unbearable, when it seems like every door is closing and every hope is slipping away, remember that God's silence is not his absence. He is at work in ways we may not always see or understand. The season of waiting, of enduring, is just as important as the season of blessing. It is a time of preparation, a time for God to refine your character, to strengthen your heart, and to deepen your faith. We may ask, how long must we endure this? But in the waiting, God is doing something profound within us. It's during the times of hardship that we are shaped into the vessels that can hold the weight of his blessing. Just as a potter shapes the clay, molding it with careful, intentional hands, so does God shape our lives through the trials. The process is not always easy or comfortable, but it is necessary. The potter doesn't rush. He takes his time because he knows the end result will be beautiful, purposeful, and strong. When we look back on our lives, we can often see how the trials have shaped us, how they have prepared us for the blessings that came afterward. What seemed like a burden at the time becomes a testimony of God's faithfulness. The refining process, though painful, was what made us stronger and more capable of handling the fullness of God's purpose for our lives. And in the waiting, in the refinement, we learn to trust in God's faithfulness. We begin to understand that he is not just a God who gives us blessings when we are good enough or when we've earned them. He is a God who blesses us because he loves us, because he is good, and because his plans for us are greater than we can imagine. The trials we go through do not define us. They refine us, but they do not destroy us. The enemy may try to tell us that the storm will never end, but God promises that he will never leave us or forsake us. In fact, he is with us in the midst of the storm, walking alongside us, carrying us when we cannot walk. At times, the road ahead may look uncertain, and the blessings we are waiting for may feel far away. But in those moments, it is important to remember the stories of those who have gone before us, those who endured great trials and saw God's faithfulness on the other side. They were not perfect. They were not without flaw or fear, but they trusted in God. And in the end, their faithfulness was rewarded. So, whatever you are facing right now, whatever trial, whatever storm is raging in your life, know that it is not the end of your story. God is at work even when you cannot see it. The test you are walking through is not in vain. There is a purpose to the pain, and God is using it to prepare you for the great things he has in store for you. His blessings are coming, and they will be worth every step of the journey. Keep trusting, keep believing, and keep your eyes on the promises of God. He is faithful, and he will see you through to the other side. As you stand in the midst of your trials, know that the storm you are facing is not meant to defeat you, but to prepare you for something far greater. The test is not a sign of abandonment, but a divine opportunity for growth, for strengthening your faith, and for drawing closer to the heart of God. What feels like an endless season of struggle is actually the refining process, shaping you into the person you are destined to become, ready to receive the blessings that God has prepared for you. God does not abandon his children in times of trial. He is always with you, guiding, sustaining, and carrying you through the most difficult moments. The millionaire blessing that he promises is not just about material wealth. It is about the peace, joy, strength, and purpose that come from his presence in your life. The breakthrough will come, not when you have earned it, but when you are prepared to receive it. Trust in God's timing, rest in his faithfulness, and hold fast to the truth that he will see you through to the other side. Your trials were a test, but now comes the blessings, the rich, overflowing blessings of God that will make all the trials worth it. Stay steadfast in your faith, and in due time, you will experience the fullness of his promise.